There are so many questions, and when you talk to experts in these fields, I actually just talked to an Army sniper who served 3 tours in Afghanistan, who said there's no way the guy who countershot the shooter, there's no way he didn't see him on the rooftop. You know, I mean, in that close proximity. So there's huge questions at this hour. Who saw what, when they saw it, who they alerted.
But I got to tell you, Martha, I noticed those 2 Secret Service snipers that made the shots about 25 minutes before the event began. They were pretty furiously looking at their military-grade binoculars, and I thought that was kind of unusual, or something's up. Then they pointed their snipers in that direction, then they calmed down. And then I was like, oh, right, that's the access road. That's maybe where the motorcade's coming in. They're just preparing. It's no big deal. But when the shots were fired, one thing I could see that Donna and Joe could not, fortunately, I didn't get to witness the horrible images I can imagine, is that my mind went immediately up to those snipers where I saw smoke. And so originally, their initial reaction was that it was, the Secret Service saw something they did not like, and they acted proactively. Obviously, that was not the case. I would say this, in terms of the timing, you're asking a really interesting question. The best way I can describe it, Martha, it's like if anyone's ever been in a car wreck, time slows down. But in terms of your own physical safety, in terms of that particular moment, it was 5 or 6 seconds, and you knew it was immediately over. And so I thought the Secret Service protocol was just to cover the former president. I had no idea he, had any injuries at all until he got up and obviously gave that iconic fist in the air.
But I think one of the most glaring questions tonight is what happened on that rooftop. You had civilians who were warning police and Secret Service individuals on the ground, according to them, according to their own eyewitness, and that they were running around not seeming to understand what they were being directed to in terms of there's a man on the rooftop. You have 2 snipers, maybe we have that video, who are positioned on the roof from Secret Service, and it looks like they're already aiming in the direction where we believe these shots were fired from. So how do you unravel that, Nicole?
You know, Martha, that's a really great question. That's what we're all asking. And that's when I expect the Secret Service director to come out when this investigation is completed. And I'm glad that they're being called out. A full investigation needs to be done. This is not acceptable. It is not. The fact that that roof went unmanned is not okay. I get it. They do site surveys, 7 to 10 days in advance. The U.S. Secret Service goes in. They do a site assessment about 12 hours before. They go in and do a sweep. But the fact that there was this rooftop that was completely unattended within 130 yards of where President Trump would be standing, and then people were trying to warn them and say, hey, there's someone with a gun. The communications, I can tell you, it's difficult for someone on the ground to tell that to a law enforcement officer, to as a local, to communicate that to Secret Service. It should be a lot more organized than you would think. But again, sometimes it's just a lack of communication on the ground.
Yeah, I remember we talked about this after 9/11, communication between all of these agencies, and it is mind-boggling that we still don't have a clear channel line between the local police and the Secret Service and anyone else in law enforcement who's there on this scene. But these are the things that, obviously have to be fixed, because a man lost his life because of this. And we almost lost a former president of the United States and current candidate. It's a stunning sequence of events that we're learning about. Nicole, thank you very much.
I know that everyone here will soon be marching over to the Capitol building.